Hello everybody. Today we'll see how to create a sample web project using Maven. To do that, we need to right click, say new, go to other. You see Maven project here. If you don't see Maven project, right under the wizards, you have a filter that you can type in the text and you can see say Maven and you see the Maven project. Click next. When you click next, there are a few default values. We let everything to be default. We don't create a simple project or anything because we'll be writing our own code. So we'll just let everything to be default and click next. And then it is retrieving the archetypes for us. What is this archetypes? These archetypes are different for each different application that we want to use. In here we want to create a web app. So we search for web app. Okay. And then in the filter you can see the different web apps, JBundle related to JBoss. Okay, we will select J2EE 1.4. we have 6 and 5 as well, but there are few issues with Maven and Eclipse, so we'll see in the next tutorial how to resolve them when we use 6 or 5. But in this we'll use J214 and then click next. So the artifact ID is mainly the project that we want to create. That is my first web application. You can have any version number you want. You can even select, even edit it. Okay. And as per the properties, there won't be any properties as of now because it's just a basic project. Click finish. So it's creating a web app based on all the dependencies and updating the dependencies. So once it's done, what you will see here is you will see M right above, left hand side right above the project. So you can see that's a Maven project. So this is the folder structure of the Maven project. Okay, and the main file in the Maven is pom.xml file. So what are all the dependencies you want, what are all the plugins you want, what you want it to do, you have to include everything in the pom.xml file. Because we have selected J2EE14, what Maven does is Maven includes the servlet and JSP dependency by default for us because that is a web application that we have selected. Okay, so to run a web application we need a server. You can use Jetty, Tomcat, whatever you want. In this tutorial I am using Tomcat, so you can refer to my other tutorials where you will see how to plug in Tomcat into Eclipse. Okay, after we plug in Tomcat into Eclipse, I have used Tomcat 7. As per the Maven, we need to add it to the plugin. So presently the compiler for the Maven is Maven compiler, but you need to replace that with Tomcat. So this would be org.apache.tomcat.maven, and this would be artifact ID would be Tomcat 7 is my version that I have. Okay, so include Tomcat 7_Maven, and the version of Tomcat that I am using is 7. So as per the configuration I won't have anything as of now. So this is how you set Tomcat as a plugin into this. So when we create a default web application, what it does is it creates an index.jsp file. So this is just a blank JSP file which says hello world. So if you see web.xml file in web app, web.xml file, the welcome file is the index.jsp file. So whenever you run a web application on a server, the default file would be launched. That is the welcome file index.jsp. Now we'll see the same thing over here. So we don't start the Tomcat manually. We'll pass a command to Maven saying that run the Tomcat. Okay, and then you go to pom.xml file, right click, run as, you say Maven clean. What Maven clean does is it cleans all the files. If there are any previous files, it deletes the target folder where exactly the Tomcat is. If you have the war files, it deletes it, clean, make it clean. XML file, run as Maven generate sources. So it will generate all the required sources and it builds the file for us successfully. But few instances what we see is in the problems there is a project configuration which is not up to date. So we right click on it, say quick fix. So what it does is it updates the project configuration file for us automatically. So there are no problems. Okay, after we fix the problem, it's just a basic problem that it occurs whenever we create a Maven web application sometimes in Eclipse. So it is not a very big issue, you can just quick fix it. Now right click, run as Maven build. This is the default one, but if you have already some configuration set up, you can select this. If not, we need to select this because we need to pass some configurations to it. So what configurations? Based on the server that you are using, we need to tell Maven that run that particular server. So my server that I'm using is Tomcat, so I would say Tomcat run. So that is the main goal that it has to do. Okay, and the base directory should be always your main project. So that is where we need to run it, and then click run. So when we click run, what it does is it runs the Tomcat and it runs the var on the Tomcat. So now open this console. You see it scans the projects, builds the application, and see if there are any dependencies. There are few warnings saying that it's missing, but it still runs for you. So when you go down, you see running a var on this one. So it has created a var, and the var is run, and it created a var, and then it deployed the var on the server. So we can just go ahead. You can open this in any browser. You can select here, you can select a browser, copy paste, and just enter. You will see hello world. You see hello world. So this is how we do create a basic web application using Maven. Maven builds the application and Maven deploys the var. In the next tutorial, we'll see how to create a var manually and then how to deploy it into the Tomcat. So here it did it automatically, that it created a var and it deployed it on the server. In the next session, we'll see how to create a var and then deploy it into Tomcat manually. I hope this tutorial is helpful. Thank you.